First, the carbon is an element and it is part of the oceans, air, rocks, soil and all living things. Carbon doesn't stay in one place, it is always on the move. The first move is carbon moves from the atmosphere to plants. In the atmosphere, carbon is attached to oxygen in gas called carbon dioxide. With the help of the sun through the process of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is pulled from the air to make plant food from carbon. The second movement is carbon moves from plants to animals. Through food chains, the carbon that is in plants moves to the animals that eat them, and animals that eat other animals get the carbon from their food too. The third movement, carbon moves from plants and animals to the ground. When plants and animals die, their bodies, wood and leaves decay, bringing the carbon into the ground. Some become buried miles underground and will become fossil fuels in millions and millions of years. The fourth movement, carbon moves from living things to the atmosphere. Each time you exhale, you are releasing carbon dioxide gas into the atmosphere. So animals and plants get rid of carbon dioxide gas through the process called respiration. The fifth movement, carbon moves from the fossil fuel to the atmosphere when fuels are burned. When humans burn fossil fuels to power factories, power plants, cars and trucks, most of the carbon quickly enters to the atmosphere as carbon dioxide gas. And the sixth movement, carbon moves from the atmosphere to the oceans. The oceans and other bodies of water soak up some carbon from the atmosphere.
Volatile organic compounds are related to the air when fuel is burning. Nitrogen dioxide, the chemical forms of mud, also formed by burning sources of energy like gas, coal, and oil, and by cars. Carbon monoxide, the source of these chemical and burning sources of energy. Particulate matter, the source of these chemicals blowing and burning down fields.
The concentration of carbon dioxide in Earth's atmosphere has increased at least 391 parts per million as of October 2012, and rose by 2.0 parts per million during the years of 2000 and 2009. The current concentration is substantially higher than the 2080 parts per million concentration presented in pre-industrial times, with increase likely attributed to anthropogenic sources. Carbon dioxide is used in photosynthesis and its prominent greenhouse gas. Despite its relatively small overall concentration in the atmosphere, CO2 is an important component of Earth's atmosphere because it absorbs and emits infrared absorption at a wavelength of 4.2 asymmetric stretching duration mode. In 2009, the CO global average concentration of the atmosphere was about 0.0387% or 387 parts per million. Global average concentration in Earth's atmosphere has a fluctuation about 3 to 9 parts per million, which roughly follows the northern hemisphere growing season. The northern hemisphere has the bigger annual cycle of CO2 concentration because it has a much greater land area and plants biomass, much more than the southern hemisphere. In May, it's when everything peaks and starts coming out and the foods start working. As of 2008, Mexico produces 4.4 carbon dioxide emissions per capita. While CO2 absorption and release always happening as a result of natural processes, there are recent studies that claim that it's also the human fault. I personally think it's both of them. It's really important to watch everything we do because it makes damage. This is what I read. There are tons of evidence which clearly shows that the atmosphere CO2 is increasing because of humans. The clearest of these simple accurating humans are emitting CO2 at a rate twice of its atmosphere increases. This is on kind of a strength. This is not confirmed, but this is what science tells us.
It's always happening as a result of natural processes. The recent drastic rise in CO2 levels in the atmosphere is known to be entirely due to human activities. Researchers know this both by experiments and by examining the rate of various carbon isotopes in the atmosphere, enabling scientists to distinguish between natural and human-caused contribution to CO2 concentration. Burning fossil fuels such as coal and petroleum is leading cause of increasing CO2. Deforestation is the second major cause. In 2010, 9.14 gigatons of carbon were released from fossil fuels and cement production worldwide. And the concentration of carbon dioxide have been increasing in the atmosphere due, as we said, due to human activity. By the 1980s, accumulating evidences suggest that increasing levels of these gases could produce higher global temperatures and changing precipitation patterns. So it means the global warming.
My personal conclusion is that chemistry is everywhere, and with my topic I learned that we are image the environment with all these gases and chemical reactions, and we can take care of it.
Well, my conclusion is the carbon cycle is a natural way to recycle the carbon present in the air, but with the time it have been increasing a lot and it are producing big change, which is the global warming, and we need to know how to stop it, to slow down, because some we won't have a year to protect. So
On my personal conclusion, I think that we are damaging the earth too much. It is very delicate, and I think it's because we always are like, I need, and never I give away. We're very selfish, so we need to start caring about what is going to happen if we stop being selfish. We should do everything they tell us, like save energy,